Over the past 10 months, I have documented the teardown of the Santa Ana industrial lead and the construction of the new layout, the Vernon and South LA, with hundreds of photos and dozens of videos. I wasn't sure if I would ever share them, but I continued to document the build nonetheless. It was a difficult decision to tear down the old layout and start over, knowing the hundreds of hours of work I poured into it. Granted, it wouldn't be a total waste, as the experience gained was invaluable. I also salvaged most of the track and turnouts, and most of the lumber was also reused. The enthusiasm was high in the beginning. Tearing the old layout down with a Lance Mindheim design in hand for the new one, I was ready and convinced this would be a piece of cake. Well, a couple of months in and seemingly doing the same thing for the past 3 years, bench work, foam work, track work, and wiring, that enthusiasm waned and I began to wonder what I got myself into. Slowly but surely the vision took shape. Trains were running and things were falling into place. I literally maybe took a week off when my stepson visited us for a couple of weeks, but even then I put him to work helping me put the fascia up. I finally put a few photos up on my community page and knew a new video was brewing. So last week while I was on PTO, I set out to get the layout ready for its YouTube debut. I cleaned everything off and put up as many mock-up buildings as I could, enough to at least show the framework of my master plan. I knew this video would be one of the most challenging of all that I have made, and that has indeed been the case. With that being said, this isn't a true layout tour, but I do plan to show a brief overview and walkthrough of the entire thing. I do want to share some videos I took along the way, sort of a behind-the-scenes look at the teardown and the rebuild, as I found them interesting. I also have a quick walk-around tour of each section, and some trains running at the end. I hope you enjoy the layout and the video. Thanks to all of my subscribers and everyone who is choosing to watch this video log. Up on the screen now, you will see the final Lance Mindheim design as he gave it to me, followed by my changes and the final design that is shown in the video. This video is about 10 months of work trimmed down to roughly 30 minutes of video. Remember, if you like this content, please leave a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to the channel as I ramp up my video production over the next few months as I continue to build the layout. Thank you. So this is the beginning of the takedown, which I may or may not show at some point. As you can see, an essential part of the takedown or rip out is right here in this glass. But anyway, it's cleaning. Just gonna go through and start cleaning off the layout, cars, buildings, wood, scenes, all in an effort to improve this room and have a better, just a more relaxing atmosphere and a good layout as well. Not that this one was bad. So, I have a little work ahead of me, but gotta start somewhere. This scene I am saving somehow. I'll put it somewhere. In case I ever remake this Santa Ana industrial lead on like a small switching layout, I can revisit this. This is just too cool. All right, off to work. It's after night one of actual demo. As you can see, I took off the foam for the whole island. And then the backdrop. As you can see, it just looks so much better to see through the room. You can almost picture the new layout. It's a lot of work. Night one. Out. So I made a lot of progress the last few days. Got the whole bridge wall all done with the framing. So I still have that far wall, LA Junction, and this here, and then the island. Union Pacific J yard will be there. Alameda lead. And then a corn syrup place right here in this. Need to build an island right here. Or sweetener products, that's what it is. So a day or two more after work and I should have most of the framing done. I gotta move all the lights again. A lot of the lights, not all of them, but a good number of them. Repaint, painting it a different color. So, coming along. So let's walk into the new and improved layout room for the Vernon South LA layout. Today I finished most of the tabletop bench work. Right here is where the big LA river bridge will be, right when you'll see it from the outside of the room right there. I still have a lot of cleanup to do. I still have to fix a little bit on this back wall, but this will be J yard right here. Alameda Boulevard as it makes its way to sweetener products, which will be right here. This is South LA. Right here will be the bridge river scene. Have to fix all the lights still. They're all still for the whole layout. Right here will be the Bandini, Rusty and Dusty. This will be the LA Junction yard. This will be what's called Streamline Modern District, and then team track right here for the LA Junction. So roomy. No wall blocking. And then a 30-foot straight run down over a bridge, which would be pretty sweet. Yeah, so here's everything I took out of the layout room. So can't really mess with this layout here until I get all this back in soon, which will be pretty soon. But pretty cool. Okay, so here's a look at the Alameda corridor before anything is glued down whatsoever. So I just have it kind of mocked up or staged how I want it. Got everything ready. I'm going to start removing stuff here in a little bit and gluing stuff down. So let's pan over here through the turn curve. This is where the street bridge will be. Now over here, I've already glued the road bed and the track, at least I think 3 to the far pieces, not this close one here. So I'm still going to put some pieces of wood vertically here to equal the height of the foam, so I can set the scenery on top of it. Probably put them on both sides. Still kind of figuring out that. And then I've settled on the width of the far wall and foliage, which is what you're seeing right there. It's 2 inch foam. Sorry. I mocked up this piece already, took some pictures. It was 1.5 inch, and I painted it quickly, just some acrylic paints, and threw some grout on there, and then threw my weeds just to see how it looked. And it looked pretty good. Obviously I'll paint it up better, but I wanted it to look a little thicker, so I made some room here, and I'm going to use 2 inch foam here. And then on the right half of the trench, which is a little wider. I think I have 5.5, 3.5 inches here. So I'm still kind of figuring out how I'm going to slope it down, because the whole trench comes down this way, and then the slope also slopes down from here. So you can see where this line is. I'm going to carve the foam down and try to kind of gradually slope it down. But I'll figure that out. And I've also made these pieces. So I'm going to glue the foam and the risers down, and then these pieces I'll be able to pull out, weather, put the foliage on, and then place back in. And then once I get all of them done, I'll decide if I'm going to permanently bond them, so that way I can get this track down, get it wired, and then do the scenery at my own pace. Same with these pieces here. The plan is to, glue this all down, the foam here down for the yard, and then this piece will just be removable. I paint it, weather it, put all the foliage however I want to do it, and just set it back in, all the pieces. And then I'll just blend in the where the seams are from each piece, and then as well as the seam where the yard is at the end. And then if I ever wanted to, redo some of them, I just pull out the module, redo it, put it back in. So that's the plan for the Alameda Corridor scenery, and there's another view of it. Let me take you on a quick tour of the Vernon and South LA layout. So we're going to start over here in the Los Angeles Junction / BNSF yard. It's 4 tracks. I'm using a 5th one in the back there, but it's just a dummy track for now. So Los Angeles Junction / BNSF, this yard will service the transload area over here, this would be considered Vernon. This is kind of a large transload. I think it's MHX, it's the real name. This is a smaller version of it. Let's walk around. It's got a dock for box cars. You can unload lumber cars, coil cars, flat cars, and then there's a track that's a kind of hopper plastics or whatever. Unload area, late unload. So I still got to put all kinds of, or some buildings up in this area. This track I might use as a storage or a industry track for this plastics company over here, possibly. And then this track here is if I ever wanted to connect the 2 sides. So now we're going to look at the Bandini Boulevard area, which is the other section that the Los Angeles Junction services. It's on the other side of, it's right near the LA River. This has got some very interesting trackage. You can see, got a crossing there. So we'll have boxcar industry back there. And then we have another industry here to be determined, either the cold storage or I think like a steel coil place, one of the two. And then going over here, this other one would then be cold storage or the steel coil place, whichever way I go. I think I'm leaning towards cold storage over here because the cars are larger, there's more room. But I'm still trying to work out how this is going to look. And then you kind of got the beginnings of the LA River here, and then kind of the real estate right by it, which would be all weeds and sandy dirt grass. Like I said, it's an interesting switching over here. I was just trying to set it up for photos with these boxcars in the back, and I had to figure out how logically you would move 4 or 5 boxcars from back there and then replace them with these with the tracks that are here. So it should be fun. So this is the Bandini Boulevard, aka Rusty and Dusty. So now we'll go to probably the signature scene of the layout, that the LA River, which kind of crosses over the center section of this entire layout. This whole middle area here is essentially scenic. So I still have weathering to do on the bridge. You see the rear bridge there, that's for the Alameda corridor / staging track that I'll get to. And then there's a commercial backdrop in the back, which I have to cut the sky out still to make it match my color. And I'm deciding what to do here, but I'm leaning towards maybe a big, large brick warehouse, old abandoned warehouse here, and maybe another building in back here. It's just more of a kind of dead space and block the back area. Here's the Washington Street Bridge. This was dug up, or dug down actually, to accommodate the Alameda corridor. So this is kind of a new area. Well, that last 20 years, I guess. We getting over to the Union Pacific yard over here. So now we're at it's called J Yard, Union Pacific, formerly the Southern Pacific. I don't remember the yard name, but it's 4 tracks. Basically, this yard serves 2 industries. First one is going to be a scrap yard here, which there is one close by that they service, or used to serve. I'm not sure if they still do. So that's what this will be. Just a couple cars, and it's basically connected to the yard. And then the other industry, we'll take the long trip down Alameda Boulevard here. It's a Sweetener Products, which is this corn syrup place. There's actually 2 facilities over here. One would be down that spur and then off, kind of up again. The other one is interesting because it's buried down this between 37th and 38th Streets. I think I'll flip a picture in. It's buried in this area. It's concrete jungle, concrete warehouses, and they shove in about a half a mile down this old rickety, I think the track's been replaced, but it used to be an old rickety track. And they put like up to 5 tank cars or hoppers in this area. It's a really cool street, lots of character on the buildings. Right now I'm just mocking it up. And it's a hat tip to Joey from Late Night Hobbies. This is one of his buildings that I doctored up to match one on the street. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It looks like kind of a laundry place, but so there's going to be a lot of kind of just structures to build here to make this street look pretty cool. Everything here is a mock-up, so that's essentially the switching part of the layout. Again, it's 2 halves. You have BNSF yard over there, which services, 3 or 4 industries. Huge center section, which would connect the 2 yards. The UP yard over there. And then their industries. And then There are transfers between the 2 yards, UP to BNSF and vice versa, so that's what I'll be using these tracks for, back and forth. So now I'm going to show you the final element that I added myself to this layout design. So the final element to this layout is what I'm calling, it's a staging track and also the Alameda corridor tracks. So the track here on the left is the Alameda the Alameda corridor. It runs automatically with Iowa scaled engineering Motorman. And then this is a staging track that actually connects to the rest of the layout. So the thinking was, I wanted to show around the exterior of this whole area, Vernon and South LA, the Alameda corridor runs from the port of LA to the yards nearby, running mostly container trains. It's a huge engineering project. I think it was in the 1990, early 2000s it's like a super highway or a interstate for the trains to get from the ports to the interior yards. So it runs right behind J Yard here. It's actually 3 tracks. I got 2. So, and then in real life, it kind of just runs around the area. You'll see it crossing over bridges, which is what I wanted to show. So you see it back there, and the rear bridge that I'm still working on. And then it'll kind of hide again through here. And then it'll pop its head out on this bridge over the river, the back one. And then again, it'll go into hiding back here. And then it hits, let's see if I can show you the sensor there. Yeah, right there. Sensor, and that'll slow it and stop it and reverse the train. And there's another sensor on the other side under the lumber where I started. So basically runs back and forth at whatever speed I want. I can set it up in the look controller. And it's just kind of a scenic train that, moving it when I'm over here switching, I could just watch that one, run back and forth, or turn it off if I don't want to use it. It's fine. But it's pretty cool. I really like having the ambience of the train running. I have it the volume set down, and it's also a squealer up here, Iowa scaled engineering squealer, that when it hits that point, you'll hear the squealing of the trucks. And then the other track, so the second track here, the inner track, would be staging. Originally I was going to have 2 tracks that were running automatically, but then I thought, why not connect it to the rest of the layout? So you'll see it actually climbs and connects right here. So the thinking of this track is you bring in kind of the haulers from LA that would deliver the cars to be delivered to the industry. So one could come in and go all the way down to BNSF over there and drop their cars off, and then a UP one could also come through, and then I have to do a reverse motion and drop its cars off in this yard. And then on the flip side, I could, once the cars are quote unquote empty or loaded, I take them off layout through this track. So it's kind of a neat way to add some operations to the layout. So that's it in a nutshell. Hope you like the mini tour. So I just fired up the Motorman. Let's see that 767 is running, it's speeding up now. And I'm going to try to have these two meet. Start hearing some squeals here right about now. Let's check on the UP train starting across this bridge. So I'll show you where this one reverses. So it crosses over here. A nice cool view. I mean, it looks pretty cool, I have to admit. And again, that track is not connected to the rest of the layout at all. You hear the horn, so I hit the sensor. Now it's slowing down. Comes to a stop. Then you can set how long you want to stop. I think I have 30 seconds maybe, or a minute before it reverses. Then it'll do the same on the other side. Well, there you go. Now it's going backwards. So ideally I'd probably put a locomotive on both sides so it always looks like it's going forward, but I'll get there.